Hey everyone, Jessie here. Today we'll focus on breathing and neutral spine while we practice foundation movement in Pilates. This will help us create a strong base for continuous practice and a strong powerhouse, our core. Let's begin in 4-point kneeling here. Place the heels of your hands directly underneath the shoulders. Create a slight tucking of the tailbone to lift the rib cage. So from tail all the way to crown of head, you've got one straight line, neutral spine. Can you bend the elbow slightly, press the knuckles into the ground to transfer the weight from ground all the way to the middle back muscles. From here, let's start with a deep inhale, filling the entirety of the lungs, and the exhale, a controlled breath out through the mouth. Take a few moments here to get that rhythm of breath. Notice the tempo, the depth, where it's touching. On your next inhale, maybe the belly starts to drop. Can you wrap the outer shoulder muscles into the shoulder joint? Maybe this encourages the head to look up slightly. The exhale starts tucking the tail, creating a curve into the spine as you curve that towards the roof, back of the neck long. Brain heavy. Working on this with your rhythm of breath oscillating through the spine, getting some movement and warmth. And again, just keep tapping into the breath here and notice what's happening with the hands. We do tend to grip down onto the floor. And that's what starts to make our wrists quite sore. So the more you can press into the knuckles and feel into all four corners of the palms, we start to use all the middle back muscles we don't generally use through the day. Take one more cat and cow here as you drop the belly, untuck the tail, follow that all the way through, create space for the neck. The exhale starts the journey of the curling of the spine, separating the shoulder blades, pressing the hands into the ground, brain nice and heavy. When you're ready, you're going to find neutral spine, again tapping into the breath here. When you're ready, you're going to extend right leg. Make sure that both the hip bones are in one line. Good way to check this is to make sure that the left knee stays directly underneath the left hip. You may sway to the left. If that's the case, just bring the spine back to center. Tuck the right toes under. On the next inhale, drags that heel no higher than the hip. The exhale drips the toes back down onto the floor. Keep that back leg nice and active here to support the spine. If you have the balance, you're more than welcome to take the left hand to the dip in the lower back to help balance the spine here and make sure that the rib cage isn't going up and down here. For 3 and 2, notice what's happening with the shoulders. They do tend to draw up towards the ears. Last one. You can keep the leg up here for the next few breaths. If you would like a little bit more heat, drip the right toes onto the ground. The inhale lifts the left knee off the ground. The exhale brings that back down gently and lift and down. Lift for 4. Nearly there. I know, for 3. Working with breath for 2 and 1. Slowly coming down, lying down on your side. You're going to place the left hand on bottom ribs. Bring that elbow down and then turn the left forearm out. Keep the knees bent. Try to line your heels with the tailbone here. Lift the bottom ribs as you press the forearm down onto the ground. Maybe the hand lands on that top hip. Maybe it goes up towards the roof. Completely up to you where you'd like to take this. Inhale. The exhale lifts that top knee. Drips that back down with the inhale and then lift. Make sure that the hips are stable here by bracing the stomach muscles. Notice if you start to sink into that left shoulder. If so, just press into the forearms. Think of space between the shoulder joint here. Nearly there for 4. Keep squeezing the glute as you lift that knee up for 3. Keep breathing. Nearly there for 2 and 1. From here, you're going to keep the left knee down, extend that right leg, keep the tailbone tucked, pressing into the ground again. Flex the foot so as if you're stamping that against a wall again. Big deep breath in. The exhale lifts that leg up. Inhale, back down. Exhale to lift. And down. Lift. And down. All the way up for 4. Keep reaching that top arm up or using the hand to guide that hip bone in place. 2. And 1. From here, finding all fours, we're going to work on the other side this time. Heels of the hands are directly underneath the shoulders. Knees are directly underneath the hips at hip width. Extend the left leg back. Wrap the outer shoulders into the shoulder joint here. And again, flex that left foot. Even at the hip bones, the inhale lifts that left heel up. Remember, no higher than the hip and down. Notice what's different on each side. One side may have a little bit more balance than the other, or even strength. Can you keep that back leg nice and strong by keeping the leg as straight as possible? You'll start to feel the back of the legs switch on, maybe even the glutes, yeah, for 2. And 1. Remember, the heel can stay up here. Otherwise, drip the toes down. Press the ball of the foot onto the floor. The next inhale lifts the right knee, just slightly. Inhale back down, yeah, and lift, and down. While you are here, can you create space between the shoulder joint? The shoulder blades. Wrap the elbows back so they point towards the hips. And feel what that does to the muscles in the arms for 2. And 1. From here, we're going to just turn to the side. Right hand on bottom ribs. Bring the elbow down, then bring the forearm out. The reason why we create that there, we start there, is to make sure that the elbow is directly underneath the shoulder. Bending both knees, lift the bottom ribs. Remember to create space in the arms here. Maybe the left hand lands to guide that left hip to stay as it is, or you can take the left arm all the way up. The big deep breath in starts the movement here, and then the exhale lifts that knee up and down. Again, notice what's different on this side. You may find it's a little bit more limited. Also, absolutely fine, both sides. We favor one side a little bit more than the other. Again, just notice these little discrepancies. It really helps a lot becoming aware of your body and which side needs a little bit more work or strengthening. Make sure that the shoulder or the rib cage hasn't dropped. It's quite easy to do so. Lift again if needed for 2. Coming back to the breath, last 1. And then from here, extending that left leg, stamping that heel to an imaginary wall. Big deep breath in. Lifting up. Again, bring attention to that shoulder. You may want to press into the forearm a little bit more. It's quite easy to lose that posture here, yeah? I do it all the time. Paying attention to the differences on each side for 4. Nearly there for 3. Well done. For 2. And 1. Finding all fours again. Heels of the hands directly underneath the shoulders. We're going to take this a little bit further. Absolutely fine to just work with the right leg back. If you want a little bit more spice, take left arm forward. Make sure that the lower back is supported by tucking the tailbone under. Big deep breath in. Lifting arm and leg. The exhale drips the hand and knee down. And lift. And up. Nearly there, just for 5, keeping that back leg nice and strong. Focusing on bracing the belly here to get as much activation through our powerhouse. For 3. Notice what's happened with the right shoulder as it started to crawl up towards the right ear. Last 1. And down. Left leg, right arm. Adjust the spine if needed. Wiggle side to side. Draw the left shoulder back. Nice long neck here. Inhale to lift. And down. To lift. And down. Coming back to the breath, paying attention to the stomach here, making sure that the rib cage isn't dropping below the hips. 4 and 3. Good work for 2. Last one. Inhale, exhale down. From here, we're going to find ourselves on our stomachs. Hands about 30 to 45 degrees away from the body, chin tucks into the chest, so the forehead lands down onto the floor. Point the toes, maybe they stay at hip width or go a little bit wider. This is going to be up to you. Tuck the tailbone under. It's almost like you're trying to pull the belly muscles away from the floor. Breathing into the back of the ribs as you inhale. The exhale lifts everything off the ground. Keep the chin tucked into the chest so the neck stays nice and long. Hold for one more full breath. Exhale. The next inhale controls the movement back down. Let's work with breath per movement. Lifting up as you exhale, pulling the hands down towards the toes pulling away from the hips and down. Lifting up and down. Lifting up for 4. The neck will move with the chest, so there's no need to look up. The further you start to look up, it does compress breath just a little bit. So make sure that the neck stays nice and long, so you've got a neutral spine the whole time for 3. Nearly there for 2. Last one. Once you've landed on the ground, you're going to fold the arms. Just rest the forehead on the backs of the hands. Maybe the hips wiggle side to side, maybe the knees bend and wash side to side. This is going to be completely up to you. When you're ready, you're going to find yourself lying down on your back. Absolutely more than welcome to take your time here. We're going to find neutral spine this way. So again, same rules apply. So if you're tucking the tailbone under, but the advantage is we've got the floor to actually help us. Allow the back of the ribs and the lower spine to land onto the floor by tucking the tail. You'll start to feel a connection of spine to mat. The next inhale presses the lower back down, and you're going to lift both legs off the floor here. Keep the shoulders drawn down. Big deep breath in. Start to extend left leg. What I want you to do here is keep pressing the lower back down. We're just going to hold for a moment. If you want a little bit more spice, bring the leg down a little bit lower. If you feel like this is a little bit too much for you, bring the leg a little bit higher so it sits directly on top of the hips. Also, absolutely fine to have a slight bend in that knee. Take one more full breath here. Let it go. The inhale draws that knee in. Let's work on the right. Again, we're just going to hold. Notice if there's any tightness here in the hips. Notice if the hips start to wiggle side to side. Wherever you are, drop the shoulders. And again, just take notice. Just take note. Keep pressing the lower back down here. Take one more full round of breath. We are going to move in a moment. The next exhale takes the knee back. Let's move. The inhale extends. Inhale brings you back to tabletop. Knees directly on top of the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So the importance of breathing. What it does is actually keeps the stomach muscles nice and active. So if we can breathe and start to feel our ribs expand and the ribs deflate with the in and out breath, we start to activate those deep core muscles here. Nearly there for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3. Notice what happens with the neck. I can feel mine tensing. 2 and 1. When you're ready, you're going to drip both heels so they're directly underneath the knees. Notice what happens to the toes here. Maybe you turn them in just very slightly. Feel the earth underneath you. Make sure that the inside, the outside of the foot. The ball and the heel of the feet are also on the ground here. Big deep breath in, press lower back down. Keep the curling of the spine as you peel each vertebra off the ground here. I want you guys to feel the insides of the feet, the outsides of the feet again, and just make sure that the hips are in the right position here. Maybe tuck the tailbone under again. Perhaps this creates space to lift the hips up a little bit more. What happens when you stamp the feet into the ground and pull the heels towards the glutes? What happens if you push the knees into an imaginary wall in front of you? Can you wrap the inner thighs down towards the ground, the outer hips in to center? Hopefully you'll feel a little bit more activation in the legs and less in the lower back. Take one more full breath here. The exhale to let it go. The inhale drips from top of the spine, following that all the way through. Let the top of the pelvis land before the tailbone lands. Press lower back down, both feet off the ground. Both arms may reach up and over the chest. If this is too much, hands can stay on the ground. We're going to go opposite arm and leg this time. Keep pressing lower ribs and lower back down. Big deep breath in. Exhale, extend arm and leg. Again, we're going to hold here. Keep pressing lower rib cage down. That will encourage the tailbone to switch on a little bit more. Come back to the breath. I know this is really hard. There's a lot happening. Take one more full round of breath here. The next exhale brings the limbs back to center. Let's go other side. Again, notice what's different on this side. Perhaps the shoulder's tight. Perhaps the lower back is lifting off the ground. Maybe the stomach's tired. Wherever you are, again, just take stock, take notice. Each and every breath can change each and every movement. So keep tapping in, paying attention. Take one more full round of breath. Inhale. Exhale brings the spine back. Let's move. Inhale to extend. Coming back. Other side. And coming back. I know the stomach muscles are working quite hard here, even though it's foundations. We're really thinking about posture and alignment. Think of alignment as your bones, yeah? That's what actually creates the structure. When we breathe into the muscles. Each in-breath nourishes, the exhale hugs into the bones. Nearly there for 3. Well done for 2. Very last one. Coming back. Draw the knees into the chest here. Maybe the forehead starts to find the knees. Maybe it doesn't. When you're ready, drip the head back down onto the ground. Keep the back of the neck long here. You can take the arms wide and then start to drip both knees towards the left. Keep right shoulder down onto the ground. Just going to hold here for a couple of breaths. Just going for a gentle spine twist. And coming back to the breath. Take one more full round of breath here, please. And then slowly, using the belly muscles, start to bring both knees back up. Keeping the left shoulder down onto the ground, we're going to bring both knees to the right side this time. So what I'd like you to do is make sure that you've got a gentle twist here. The left shoulder stays anchored to the ground. You may notice that it will start to lift just because the legs are quite heavy. If that's the case, keep twisting and wringing out the spine as you try to land that left shoulder down. And when you're ready, coming back to your breath. Take one more full round of breath here, please. The inhale guides both knees back to center. Draw the knees into the chest, maybe forehead again finds the knees. If it is okay for the spine, start to rock up and down your mat. If this does not work for you, just go side to side. Wherever you are, take 3 to 5 rocks to massage the spine. And then however you get there, whether you push yourself up or rock yourself back up, come up to seated. Extending both legs forward. Sitting up nice and tall. If it helps, press the hands into the ground to lengthen the spine. Taking both arms up and over the head. Big deep breath in. The exhale folds you from the hips. The hands can frame the shins, the knees. If you've got the space, maybe your hands grab the feet. Bring the chest forward first. Inhale, drop the shoulders, and maybe, if it feels good, start to round forward here. Brain heavy, back of the neck long. Coming back to the breath. Take one more full, refreshing breath here. The next inhale guides the spine up to seated. Maybe the legs stay straight, maybe the knees bend, maybe you roll over your knees and find yourself on your heels. Whatever that looks like, just finding a seat in a configuration that makes sense to you. Stack the spine one vertebra at a time, again creating length all the way through. The next inhale brings both arms up and over the head. Interlace the fingers and press the palms all the way up towards the roof, creating space in the shoulders and the spine. Take one more full round of breath here. The exhale unravels the fingertips and brings that back down by your side. Thank you so much for taking time out with me today. Hop onto mindbodymethod.com.au if you'd like to get in touch. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you.